Hello there. Welcome to the CBS Chicago Culinary Kitchen. I'm Mary Dixon from 93 XRT, and we've got four-star chef Tony Mantuano with us today, and we are so lucky to have you here. Thanks for coming, Chef.
I'm happy to be here, Mary. Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to chat a little. We're going to take some questions for Chef Mantuano, and we're going to watch the master do his thing and cook spaghetti carbonara. And if you want to get the recipe, if you want to check out more, make sure you go to culinarykitchenchicago.com. If you're on social media, the hashtag is #ChicagoKitchen. So welcome, Chef. Wanted to congratulate you, first of all, on your being named a semifinalist for this year's James Beard Award for Outstanding Chef.
Yeah, thanks.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. There's so much great culinary talent in Chicago, so to be included in like a national category like that, I think is exciting for anyone who's on that list. And Carrie Nahabadian from Naha is on the list as well. Right. So there's a couple of us from Chicago trying to crack that national New York bias, James Beard.
Although they're still having the awards here again, right?
Yes, they are. So it's at the Lyric Opera House again, and it's on May 1st. And I think maybe another 3-4 years they're still here in Chicago.
Yeah.
One of the really great honors for us this year is that besides the general admission audience on the main floor, they have 31 opera booths around, like two levels of them around the top of the hall, the auditorium, and they've asked us to cook a 5-course dinner.
Wow. For
31 opera booths with 6 people in each opera booth.
It's like,
and there's no kitchen.
It's like a really advanced version of Top Chef.
Oh yeah, this is pretty crazy.
Let me just do a little more introduction. Not that Chef Mantuano needs any, but you have won a James Beard Award before for Best Chef Midwest in 2005. Tony and his wife Kathy are the chef owners of Spiaggia.
Yeah, we got a little piece.
You founded it. The first and only 4-star Italian restaurant in Chicago. You're also chef partner at River Roast. Tonight with Toronzo Cannon.
Big concert tonight.
Combination of great food and great music.
Have you heard his stuff, John?
Yeah.
He's the best. He's like the next Buddy guy, I think.
Oh, that'd be, yeah.
If there is such a thing.
We need more Buddy guy
yes,
in this world. Right. And I think Buddy would be the first to say, no, not me. But yeah, okay. Also, Terzo Piano, the beautiful restaurant in the modern wing of the Art Institute, recently renovated. And Portobello Italian restaurant in Disney Springs at Disney World, as well as the Mangia Trattoria in your hometown of Kenosha.
That's right.
So you've basically got everywhere east of the Mississippi covered.
Right, yes. I'm lucky. I mean, we have a beautiful situation at Spiaggia where we're overlooking Oak Street Beach. And then I can walk to River Roast, which is incredible now because of what's happened with the river. Right. And then a walk over to the Art Institute, and again, an incredible view. So I got lucky. Got good views wherever I go.
And at Spiaggia, I hear you just opened a new private dining room. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. Just last week, we took a part of the main dining room. We've always had private event space above us on the 3rd floor, and then we just started hearing like, oh, I want a private dinner, but I want to feel like I'm in the restaurant. So we took a little section of the restaurant and turned it into like a place where you can have like a group of 15 or 20 people.
Nice. And still look out over Oakland, Michigan, which is a really beautiful view.
Yep.
Feel like you're just, right in the most beautiful part of the best city in the world.
That's what I say, yeah.
I understand that you have been traveling with Kathy to Italy and applying for dual citizenship.
Yeah, so my family, my grandparents came from Calabria. Kathy's parents came from a region. And how many of you know or have ever heard of the region Molise? Nobody. See what I mean? It's like even Italians don't know where Molise is.
So where is it?
So it's like on the Adriatic coast between Abruzzo and Puglia. So maybe about a 2.5-hour drive from Rome, but you have to go over the mountains to get to it. So it's fairly remote, but they're like, we like it this way. No one knows we exist. And they have lots of jokes about, like, even ISIS doesn't know where we are. It's so safe. Like, come and see us. So It's actually a great place. So anyway, through our connections there in Molise with Kathy and her family, we started applying for our dual citizenship, and we just were informed that we were approved, and we have it, but we don't have the passports yet. So yeah.
Okay. Well,
But it's Italy.
you're still going to be spending time in Chicago. You're still going to be living here because we can't afford to lose you.
Okay.
You know? No, I mean, I understand going to Italy, and I understand Molise sounds very beautiful, but we need to keep you around a little while.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, good.
Full time anyway.
And let's talk a little bit about the place that you have in Kenosha, where you grew up.
So that restaurant, Mangia Trattoria, has been open. Now we call it Mangia Wine Bar, but it's been open for 27 years.
Okay.
And Kenosha is like an unlikely place to have a restaurant, but we have so much family there, and my sister runs it, my nephew runs it. It's like a lot of family members, so it's an oasis.
I have to say, I mean, I've eaten at most of your restaurants. I'm going to have to go to Disney World now.
You will. Your children
but-
are too old for Disney.
Oh, no.
No?
I'm not too old for Disney World.
If you can survive the plane ride down there with lots of children,
Right.
that's the hardest part.
I was just going to say, though, from, Spiaggia, which is just this beautiful, refined 4-star restaurant, to your more simple restaurants, I always feel like there's a little bit of you or your family sitting across the table saying, why don't you try a little of this? Have a little crudo. This is really good. Maybe you haven't had this before. Try a little truffle on this. It's going to, and everything tastes a little bit like home.
Oh, that's
do
nice
you
of you to
design
say.
it that way? Is it on purpose?
Well, I think so, because when you say, oh, you have a 4-star Michelin-starred restaurant, there's like people get, there's a little, I can't afford that or whatever. So there's value at all, I think, all levels of dining. And one of the values we can give is that we're there. Somebody's always there, and we talk to you, and part of the Italian life, Italian culture is hospitality and making people feel welcome and warm, and we're glad you're here. So that is definitely something we always think about, that we train our staff, and
And you've said that's how you grew up in Kenosha, too, with all of your, grandparents from the old country around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there was the Mantuano food shop in what was the Italian American community in Kenosha, and it was like the center of the Italian American community there, and so the ingredients were great. My grandfather, great garden, a big garden. My grandmother was a great cook, so it was always something going on the weekends or the holidays, and it was lots of people. So that sticks with you, because that makes the food taste better.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
and a little
I
bit of
mean,
wine.
that's always good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like family, too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you're around family all the time, you need a little wine.
Yeah, for another reason.
Well, you've won all of these awards. You've written cookbooks with Kathy, the Spiaggia cookbook, Wine Bar Food. What is next for you? What do you want to do next?
I just like spending time in the restaurants, really, at this point. I mean, I don't know if we're going to do anything incredibly new in a restaurant, but, like someone famous said, never say never. But the fact that I can walk to all the restaurants, I mean, we live in Old Town, so I can easily walk to Spiaggia. I can walk, as I said earlier, I can walk to River Roast, the Art Institute. I really enjoy that. Like, getting on an airplane is, like, not what I ever want to do. But, so that's very enjoyable for me. I can always take phone calls while I'm walking. I'm very happy with that.
Okay, good. And
Yeah.
you've had a good spring or a good winter for it, because walking in Chicago's
It's crazy,
been
right?
fantastic.
I know, it's like the month of February, I've been walking everywhere. It's awesome.
Well, here in the CBS Chicago Culinary Kitchen, we have an audience of people who have won spots. If you'd like to come to a future event here, make sure that you're checking the website, checking our social media, # Chicago Kitchen. And we're going to open it up to some questions from people in our audience. Does anyone have a question for Chef Tony Mantuano of Spiaggia and River Roast and Terzo Piano? We've got a gentleman right there.
Thank you, Tony. I just want to, who inspired you? Was it like your grandmother or some family member or somebody that inspired you to get into cooking? And plus also about Kenosha, I also love the Coffee Pot Cafe in Kenosha.
coffee pot's pretty cool because it has a coffee pot as part of its sign, and it's been there forever. It's a classic place. Again, like I said earlier, it's growing up in that family, in a family where food was really important. So watching my grandmother cook was probably the most inspirational thing for me, and the flavors of things she cooked are like ingrained. Like, I know the smell. If I smell it, if somehow I nail one of her flavors right, you know, like every Sunday was her pork neck bone gravy, which sounds crazy if you're not Italian, right?
No,
But
it sounds great.
yeah.
There's no Italian in me. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
I would
it's just,
hit that.
It's so easy too. It's like pork neck bones, garlic, salt and pepper, brown them, everything. Add some tomato puree to it, and let it cook for 2 hours. It's wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the flavor that I'll never forget.
So that's when you know you're getting it right, if you're getting close to that memory.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's another thing about cooking and food, because it's also intertwined in all of your senses. And it, you know, the smells and the tastes are so much a part of your memory, and it really is tied into your family and to your childhood and how you grew up.
Yeah, and the magic of those flavors that she achieved weren't by adding a lot of things. Like, it was 3 ingredients. It was garlic, pork neck bones, a little bit of olive oil, and tomatoes.
Yeah.
And so it's not, great food always comes from like the fewer ingredients. And I think that's the hardest thing when you start to teach young cooks coming out of school. It's like they want to add a lot of stuff. They want to make like 7 countries on a plate, and this from Morocco, and this, and it just causes indigestion. So I try to tell people, like, try to do more with less for really true flavors. So.
Well, and the best cuisines often do that with the simplest ingredients. You know, the cuisines of every country, when you're really talking about getting down to the basics of that nationality, that country, you're talking about making peasant food, basically, and it's kind of the best.
It is the best, definitely.
Does anyone else have a question? Come on. There we go.
So for young, new chefs coming in, opening up their restaurant, what makes a restaurant become a Michelin star restaurant? What tips would you give somebody new to the city?
So what Michelin will tell you, it's all about the food. The food has to be great. I think it's more than that. That's what they say, but it's definitely a big element is service. They will tell you decor, but it's just really being welcoming. Consistency is also important with Michelin too. I think you have to be, they come out, every year they dine in your restaurant, so you have to be consistent. So consistency, I'm gonna say.
Well, and you made a good point about service. One thing, I've been to Spiaggia a few times here and there, and I've been there with Lynn Bramer, who could not be here today. And one thing I've noticed, Spiaggia is one of the finest restaurants in North America, if not the world.
Thank you.
And I always feel when the servers are telling us about specials, when they're, getting us what we want, there's never a sense of snootiness. There's never a sense of, you're in a 4-star restaurant, you better behave.
Yeah.
There's always a sense of welcome and, this is delicious, I'd like to share this with you. Like it's 4-star service in the sense that you don't feel like you're having to sit up straight and be very formal.
Yeah.
It's very welcoming.
Thank you, and that's what we try for. And people have a preconceived notion that it's going to be stuffy just because of the level of.
And it isn't at all.
And so we have to always go like the extra step to say, no, we're thrilled that you're here. Thank you for joining us, and let's share our passion with what the kitchen does, what the chef does, and just make sure you have a great time.
We're talking to Chef Tony Mantuano of Spiaggia, of Terzo Piano, of River Roast, of, you've got a lot of restaurants, Tony. Portobello Italian Restaurant in Disney World, Disney Springs, and Mangia Trattoria of Kenosha, Wisconsin. We're in the Chicago Culinary Kitchen, CBS Chicago Culinary Kitchen, #Chicago Kitchen if you're sharing on social media. And we've got an audience of winners here. at CBS Chicago. We have time for one more question. Does anybody have one? Come. You? Anyone?
All right.
All right, Dina's got one.
Hi. Wanted to ask, when you're getting ready to cook, is there anything that you listen to, any like music that puts you in the mood?
Yeah. So I was actually a music major in college, so I have a great appreciation of music. And I grew up like in the 70s when there was like these great horn bands like, I mean, I loved to listen to funk like Tower Power and those kind of things. That just, there's so much energy. You like have to really try not to like move and dance when Tower Power's on. So it creates a great energy. Not that Kathy will ever say I dance in the kitchen, but yeah. So I think that kind of funk, like that stuff, is what I love to play. Yeah.
When you're in a restaurant, it depends on what the staff wants to hear too, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
Or is it the chef's call? How does it work in your restaurant?
So it actually is a revolving thing. Like every day, cook gets to choose the music. But once service starts, because our kitchen is open, most of our kitchens are open, we then have to turn it off. But like these kids who are like in their 20s, all of a sudden I hear the Bee Gees blasting. I'm like, how do you know about the Bee Gees? It's like, and why are you playing that? It was painful the first time.
Let's get some stacks, Stax Volt.
Yeah, right.
So, well, let's turn on some. We don't have music to turn on for our cooking, I don't think, but we got to get cooking. There we
yeah,
go.
Tower of Power.
Chef Mantuano is going to show us how to make spaghetti alla carbonara.
I am, and the reason I chose that dish is it's one of those dishes that's often bastardized. Like, people add ingredients to it that should never be in it. Like the true carbonara, there's like, Rome has these great pastas. They have carbonara, they have amatriciana, they have gricia, they have Alfredo, even if you, and another thing about Alfredo, no cream when you have it in Rome.
Really?
No cream, butter, Parmigiano cheese, that's it.
Okay.
But it's only one restaurant. And it's like, it's not one of those dishes that you see in multiple restaurants. There's Alfredos of Rome, and that's what you see. But carbonara is just a simple dish of guanciale,
Okay. Yeah.
which is, the guanciale is basically bacon from the jowl of the pig rather than the belly.
And it's very fatty,
Yeah. Yeah. So but it looks sort of like bacon in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like Italian pancetta, which some people compare to bacon. It's not smoked. Guanciale is not smoked. Pancetta is not smoked. So we start off with that, and the ingredients then are guanciale, 2 different kinds of cheese. This is grated Parmigiano Reggiano. This is grated Pecorino Romano, and then we're going to use some egg yolks, and that's it.
Those are beautiful eggs.
They're blue eggs.
You know, how pretty is that?
These come from seagulls.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. They do.
I was like, yeah, sure, chef, whatever you say. I'm going to sit over here and let you do your thing because Tony doesn't need any help from me making this.
So we cut the guanciale just across like that, and then you can cut it into any shape you like, but the important thing is to make sure it's nice and crisp and renders as much fat as possible. Now, there's no peas in carbonara. Like, one of the rituals of new sous chefs that come to Spiaggia is always to talk about some of the dishes they like. And then on Sunday night in our cafe next door, we have Sunday suppers where we have a set menu every Sunday, and we all take a turn doing a menu. Like, it's a fixed menu, like very casual, very affordable. So everyone gets a chance. So, like the other day, we have a new sous chef, and he's like, "I'm going to make carbonara." I'm like, okay, what's in it? Peas? Like, no. Let me tell you something. That's the first. If you learn anything else, nothing else, it's really about that. So we have a little bit extra virgin olive oil. A lot of times people say, "Why do you use extra virgin olive oil to cook?" I just think it has the best flavor. You just can't get it too hot. Otherwise, it'll burn easy, but it adds a nice level of flavor. And then once we have the olive oil and that gets hot, then we put in the guanciale. And the thing about chefs is we really never follow a recipe. And after working on 2 cookbooks with Kathy, she will vouch for the fact that when I'm trying to sleep at 3 in the morning and she's finishing up the edits for the next round of cookbooks, and she's like, "What do you mean you have 3 cups?" I'm like, "I'm trying to sleep." So it's her job. What I'm trying to say is it's her job to get all the recipes right.
Everyone needs a partner that balances out what they can't do. And clearly you guys have made that work for a good long time. Now, did I just see you put salt in the pasta water?
Of course, doesn't everyone salt their water?
I do.
Salt your water?
I do.
Yes. You have to
Yay.
salt your water because the pasta needs a little bit of seasoning too. And then, how about olive oil? You put olive oil in your water? Totally a waste of money. Does nothing. It floats like an oil slick on top of the water. Don't waste your money. So while the guanciale is crisping up and we're waiting for the water to boil, we added the salt. And we always like to add the salt right away. Mm-hmm. It's like the rule is always whoever puts the water on salts it. And then at restaurants like at Spiaggia, we have these big pasta cooking devices. And the water's always being changed, like it's continuous fill and drain, so you always have to check for the salt and the seasoning. So
Okay.
it's an important part. So this is crisping up. This is going to be where we're going to make the sauce. Now we're going to start by putting some egg yolks, not the white, just the yolk. I don't know why these eggs are blue, but they look great.
Sad chickens.
They were blue. By the way, Toronzo Cannon, did you know he's a Chicago bus driver?
I think I did read.
Yeah.
I think I heard that from Tom Marker, our guy who does, Blues Breakers every
Yeah.
Monday night on XRT. I think he's had Toronzo on more than once.
And the concert's tonight, so we wanted Toronzo maybe to do some plugs for us. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm driving. I can't get away.
Well, we'll do it right here. So that's at
There you
River
go.
Roast tonight. I think doors at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And have some good food and listen to some good blues.
I
Good
mean,
modern blues.
It's $20. It's like,
Come on.
all right, this is crisping, right?
Okay, this is starting to smell really good.
It's gonna smell good. And then the water's almost boiling. It always helps to keep it covered. It boils faster. And in this bowl we have the egg yolks. And now we're gonna take some of the Parmigiano and some of the Pecorino Romano. And we're going to just sort of whisk that together, and it's gonna be nice and thick and almost too thick. Well, you're gonna see what we're gonna do next. We just wanna get all the cheese and the egg yolks mixed up. All right, keeping an eye on this because there's that fine point of burning and browning. One of the highlights of what we've done over the years has been, I always talk to Lynn about this too, is that the amount of music stars that come to Spiaggia over the years has been really great. And he always says, who's your favorite one? He always asks me, and the time that Paul McCartney came in was probably, because the great thing about him was that he wanted to talk about food.
Right.
And he wanted to talk about this restaurant and that restaurant, and he is a vegan, so pretty much on the spot we created a vegan menu for him. But he could not have been nicer.
Well, that is good because I would hate to have a poor opinion of Paul McCartney misbehaving at Spiaggia.
No.
So.
We can't talk about the misbehaving rock stars. But
Oh, come on.
no.
So, well, you founded Spiaggia in 1984.
Yep.
You've had all kinds of people walk through your doors, famous, infamous. The Obamas have celebrated anniversaries and birthdays and elections at Spiaggia, I believe.
Yeah. When the first election, 2008, that's where they celebrated. But we had known them for a while because we were always their date night place, so we got to know them a lot before he was elected. So.
Before you had to go through Secret Service,
Yeah.
Do we need to crank that up, or are we?
I'm giving it all she's got there.
My mother is here, and you know what she's thinking right now.
What?
A watch pot never boils.
That's right. She's absolutely
Because that's what moms say.
right.
So.
The other thing about the Obamas is that we did a state dinner during the NATO convention, which I think was in 2011.
That sounds right. Yeah.
At the Art Institute, and so it was for the First Lady and 11 other significant others of heads of state, and she hosted it. So it was 12 people, and she hosted it inside a gallery at the Art Institute. It was when Liechtenstein exhibit was there.
Oh, that was a great exhibit.
Yeah, and we had to get permission from the estate to make sure we could serve food in there.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but no red wine. No red wine near anything.
That kind of makes sense.
Well, it made sense until the First Lady said she wanted to serve bison.
Oh, so what did you do?
Exactly. Like, what are we going to do? So I said to Kathy, who writes the wine list at Terzo Piano, like, what are you going to do? And she actually, found a wine from California. That was what, Kathy? What was the grapes? And
grown white grapes that grow in Paso Robles, actually, where it's quite warm. It's from a mountain state, from a producer named Dow. And it does have these characteristics of a richer, fuller wine. If you were blindfolded and sipped it, you wouldn't necessarily know it was two white grapes in the wine. So, yeah, because the whole theme was all American.
oh yeah, all American.
Right.
too.
When you're growing up in Kenosha, and learning how to cook food from your family and studying music in college, did you think you were going to spend time trying to sweat out a white wine list so you could cook in the, serve dinner in the Art Institute for the First Lady?
No, the answer is no.
That's a pretty high level, problem solving, thing to have to do.
Yeah, so, and then there's no kitchen near the gallery.
Right.
And the only way you can really serve bison is if it's rare or medium rare, because it's just no fat, it's all completely lean. So it was a trick to do it, but we pulled it off. But we were thrown more than one curveball. As we're about to serve the dinner, of course, Secret Service is everywhere, and our staff is there ready to serve. And these gentlemen walk up in tuxedos, and I'm like, how you doing? Good. We're here to serve the dinner. I'm like, we're good. We're staffed. Everyone's here. We're going to do it. It's going to be fine. And they're like, no, you don't understand. We're the White House butlers. We serve the state dinner. So, yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Of course you are right.
Yep.
Sir.
Come right in. That was lots of fun, though. That was a really fun night. And then recently we cooked at the State Department in D.C. in October. And it was a state lunch for the Prime Minister of Italy.
Oh, right. I remember when he came.
And so they called us like a week before, and they're like, yeah, we need you to do a lunch. It's the last state lunch, and then that evening they had a state dinner for the Prime Minister at the White House. But we were at the State Department in the ballroom, and it was 250 people. And
how was the kitchen at the State Department?
not bad, actually.
Oh, that's
really good. And we had a lot of help there's some State Department culinary team, and they used a catering firm out there. But we had to get all our product out there, and it's pretty crazy.
Wow. Now, did that help you with the whole applying for dual citizenship?
It didn't. But there are a group of us chefs, like here in Chicago, it's Art Smith, myself, I think maybe even Rick Bayless, are part of the State Department Culinary Corps. So they can ask us to do things if we're traveling. Or the reason I got asked to do that one, the time Prime Minister, was I was part of the Diplomatic Culinary Corps of the State Department. So Not sure what's going to happen now.
Yeah, is that going to continue in the new administration?
But think about how much sense that makes.
Right.
Like how much, like we've been talking about it already today, just like when you're at a table and there's wine and there's food and you start.
It's pretty hard to be angry at someone.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to have a really serious disagreement if you're sharing, bites off of each other's plates.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that lunch was the time Prime Minister, who's now also not in office.
Right.
And John Kerry and Joe Biden and 250 of their closest friends. So it was a lot of fun.
No pressure.
No pressure. And when you're standing in front of a group like that and John Kerry's introducing you, you're thinking, yeah, I'm just a kid from Kenosha. How did I get here to this place, But it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
So you've got your pasta.
Yeah, see,
cooking now?
This is the only thing. Just, you got to stir it. Don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
like the magic oil slick is going to help it from not sticking. It's...
See, now I've got a 12 and 14-year-old girls at home.
Yep.
And they're starting to learn how to cook stuff like this, semi-simple. And I keep having to remind them to put down their phones,
Oh, yeah.
put down their devices, don't walk away, don't leave stuff on the stove, because you've got to be on it. You've got to, and I'm going to show them this so they know.
Like, texting and driving, texting and cooking doesn't work.
Right.
This is the magic stuff that a lot of people don't use, is the pasta water, because it has like a starchiness that sort of just brings everything together. And at this point, we're just going to use a little bit to thin this thing out, so it becomes more like a batter. And you got to be careful that you don't scramble the eggs, but.
See, now this is why I was especially interested in this demonstration, because I've never taken advantage of my pasta water. And
Never.
Like, of all the things to be anxious about when I'm making pasta, I'm like, I'm really not utilizing this the way I should. See,
So-
but now I'm getting the picture.
But you should use it in any pasta that you make.
Right.
Like, don't cook it as long as the box ever tells you to cook it. Cook it less, and then add it to the pan. Like, I'm going to take all this and add it to here,
Okay.
and then you're going to finish it. So if you just cook the pasta and drain it, you're never going to get rid of all the water. If you put it on a platter, ladle sauce over it, but if you drain it and reserve some cooking water and add it back to the pan you cooked it in, and some of the pasta water and some of the sauce, and then just turn on the burner and just toss it, it all comes together really nice.
Okay. This is what I'm here for.
This is called the pasta marriage ceremony, marrying the sauce and the pasta. So give it a try. The next time you see me, you're going to say, thank you for that pasta marriage ceremony.
I'm sure I will.
So Toronzo Cannon, I keep going back.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought of one more thing. When the Prime Minister was in Chicago, he was at Terzo Piano.
Okay.
And Toronzo Cannon came in and played, and he got the Italian Prime Minister and Rahm Emanuel to come up on stage with him and sing Sweet Home Chicago.
Really?
How often would you see that? It was crazy. Neither of them can sing, by the way.
That doesn't surprise me with Ram.
No.
Did the Italian Prime Minister know the words to Sweet Home Chicago? I mean,
Well,
it's not that hard, but
he knew the
come on, baby, don't you want to go?
Yes, right.
That's all you need.
It's not that hard. All right, so we have the pasta, which, I just touch and I can tell.
Okay.
You want to test it?
Sure. Okay, let's.
It's sort of hot, so I'm just going to put it here.
Okay.
But it,
See,
you're
I do
gonna-
the bite.
It's like undercooked, right?
Yeah, it's a little al dente.
A little too al dente.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But as we finish cooking, like earlier when I was talking about cooking it less than the box says, it's like when you do the marriage ceremony, like it cooks more. Like there's a couple more minutes added to it. So
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
I like it where it is right now because I'm going to cook it a little bit more. And I'm not going to drain any of this fat off.
That looks
Because
good.
I'm not your doctor, I'm your chef. So. And I don't care if this is fine. I don't care if I get a little water in there because
You want that
I
water.
want it, yeah. This is almost a pound of pasta. I didn't think a whole pound was going to fit in here. So now we want to make sure everything starts to come together here before we add the rest of it.
Okay, and are you over a low flame there?
I am, very
Yeah.
low.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go a little bit higher. But you got to be, at this point, you got to be really careful because you do not want the eggs to scramble.
Okay.
Now, one of the key ingredients in carbonara is black pepper. Like, you know, the dish cacio e pepe, too. You can't be shy with the pepper. If you don't like black pepper, you're not going to like this dish.
I like black pepper. I'm in.
It's, you know, the name carbonara may refer to the resemblance to like charcoal, you know, carbon. So that may be, but there's so many different stories about carbonara. So this is pretty good. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of my magic potion. And at this point, I'm going to turn off the heat because for sure this would scramble if I put those
Okay.
eggs in there now.
Okay.
And it's not a pasta dish you can eat every day. You know, it's pretty rich.
Yeah, you want that in a big salad just for the
Yeah,
balance, right?
Exactly. So it's starting to happen. Let's just give this a little bit more water as well. Would you mind doing a ladle of water for me
Sure, sure.
as I stir to avoid scrambling my eggs?
Just slowly.
Yeah,
Okay.
beautiful. That's great. Thank
Okay.
you. Yep. All right, heat's off. Guanciale's crisp. The pasta's al dente.
Yeah.
There's olive oil. There's pasta water. Now I'm going to add the egg and cheese mixture off the heat. And now you just sort of let the heat of the pasta thicken the sauce. You see, it's a little runny, right? Mm-hmm. But just keep,
You just keep stirring
yeah,
it?
don't walk away. Don't start texting at this point. And then it just starts to get creamier and creamier.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well,
And some handlines on the floor.
something for the kitchen god.
There you go. And that's, you know, that's right about there, right?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And then I always like to add a little bit more cheese at this point, and then a little bit more. Maybe that's a little bit more than a little.
Okay. So is the carbonara the pepper or the guanciale? You know,
think-
the charred guanciale or?
I think it has to do with the visual appearance of the black pepper in the sauce.
Okay. Should I turn this off?
Thank you, yes.
Okay.
So that's ready to go. So I'm going to plate up one portion, and then I'll plate the rest up. But as you're doing this, you just want to make sure
Yeah, you've got it all off.
that it looks beautiful.
It does. Oh, and you did the little twist to make it look extra fancy.
Extra fancy.
Nice.
And then some of the really, really good stuff. And a dish that for me is a riot to make and easy to make, but just keep it simple. A little more pepper. And that's the classic Roman carbonara.
Beautiful. We're gonna give this a little taste just to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't want anyone to, be disappointed. But if anyone wants this recipe, make sure you're going to Chicago. Wait a minute, let me get this right. CulinaryKitchenChicago.com. On social media, it's #ChicagoKitchen. And, tell your friends. Come back for more. Okay, let's give this a try.
You first.
Thank you. I'm going to get some of that guanciale in there.
Of course.
Okay.
There's so many crazy stories about guanciale, like it's bacon and eggs, and U.S. servicemen like brought their ration of bacon and eggs to a restaurant in Italy. It's like, nah.
No. Okay, that's good. That's very good. Thank you. Chef Tony Mantuano, everyone. At CBS Chicago Culinary Kitchen. Thank you.